Hi ladies, today's video is wisdom for your 20s. If I were 20 years old, what would I want someone to tell me? So the first thing is make time for real connections. Everyone is busy, but make time for your loved ones. I may use social media to promote my business, but when I'm talking to people, I'm available. Now, this is so important because, we live in a world where there's always been a lot of pressures of life and things like that. But a lot of time we use our phone for so many different things, for banking, for work, socializing, finding locations. There's such a variety of things that we use our mobile phones for, right? But the thing is, sometimes we can get so caught up in our phones, whether it is work or something creative, or maybe getting lost in social media because you just want a break, that it can be easy to form bad habits and get addicted, as we've seen different articles on this case. But also, when you're in the presence of people, because you get used to using your phone, you forget that, oh, like, I need to actually talk to them. I need to give eye contact. So please remember this, make time for real connections, because there's nothing like being in the presence of loved ones. And you know what the joke is? When you're actually with people, you may feel like sometimes, oh, I'm too busy to do this or that, or to make time for you, or to have this phone call. But then when you have that phone call with that person, when you spend time with them, you feel so much better afterwards. You feel fulfilled. So this is the importance, like I've said on my channel many a time, about having boundaries and assessing who is in your life, so that when you have that time, you don't come away from it feeling drained and you come away from it feeling like, oh wow, that was such a life-giving conversation, that was so inspirational, we had a grand time, we had a great laugh. So please make time for real connections, assess your relationships, and when you're in the presence of people, look into their eyes, put your phone down. It's okay, you'll have time to answer that email, you'll have time to respond to that text, but moments with genuine people, you can never get that precious time back. Yeah. All right. The other thing is, you also need to be aware that as you all get into life commitments, career, marriage, children, the frequency of communication may change, but real friends will accept your boundaries and availability. So there we go again with that word boundaries. And this is just life. As you get older, when you're a child, everybody's your best friend. I remember one time my mum said, oh, you'll be able to count your friends on one hand. And I remember thinking, but mum, you're a social person. This doesn't sound very social. Just one hand. I've got like 5 best friends. Do you see? But as you get older, you realize there's some people that you have from primary school. There's some people that you're still friends with from high school, university times. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that life is going to get busy. You're going to have work, you're going to have children and stuff like that. You're going to move location, and all of these things will inhibit how much you can see people in person. So just remember that your relationships may change. Don't hold it against people. If you have to plan when you talk, plan when you visit, that is fine. But at the end of the day, because obviously, you take for granted when you're in school, you think, oh, we're always here, we're always going to be here. But that is what's the word I'm looking for in terms of school? That is a manufactured social environment. Do you see what I mean? Life is about socializing and mixing with different people. And as your friendships change and commitments change, those challenges of, oh, I've moved country, or I've got married now and I have children, as long as you can still make time for each other, then your friendship will stand the test of time, because you still make an effort when you can to touch base and connect. So please make time for real connections. All right. The second thing is, think about what truly fulfills you. I was watching an interview recently with Cam Newton and Bow Wow. And for those of you that don't know, Bow Wow is a legend for my generation. I'm 34. Some people could just say he's a legend. But I think specifically for my generation, he's a legend, because when I was a little and he was coming up in the early 2000s, he's an actor, producer, rapper, and he's done really well in movies. He's done really well with music. He has lots of hits and he's still touring to this day. But one of the things that he said in the interview, Cam Newton asked him, are you fulfilled? And he said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, he said, no, because I always want more. I get bored easily. And he also said that the stage is my home. Now, this is the thing. You have to think of the success that he's had. I also forgot to mention the fact that when I moved to Jamaica in 2002, you get American cable, and I saw more American based television at that time. There was a show that used to come on back in the day called 106 and Park. Some of you will know about it. The golden years were when AJ and Free were hosting, and this was like a countdown, and his songs would do well, and he made performances and hosted on that show as well. So he's had a lot of success. And even with all of that success, and we've heard these things before, we even look at Solomon in the Bible, how he said, all is vanity. He said, it doesn't fulfill me. I just want more. So do you see, sometimes in life, especially when you're not at the place where you feel like you want to be or where you should be, you feel like, okay, when I'm there, I am going to feel fulfilled. And then you get there and it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of dead. This is why a lot of people get lots of money. And remember, I'm not giving a message of money is evil. The love of money is evil. But this is why a lot of people get money and they start to do stupid things and they start to do foolishness or kind of dress crazy, because I think they just get so much access to excess, as I've heard Nick Cannon say, the access to excess, and they just don't know what to do with all of it. So remember what actually fulfills you. It's not money and fame. It's going to be your relationship with Yah, obeying his word, asking him to fill you with his Ruach HaKodesh, his Holy Spirit, which leads you to be loving and giving. When you have money and you give away things, and you can see, oh, you know what, I've contributed something here and I see the fruit of what I've given. That is such a beautiful feeling. A few weeks ago, I saw a post on Instagram where Dolly Parton, she's a lady who wrote I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston's biggest hit, or one of her biggest hits, I Will Always Love You. A lot of people don't know that Dolly Parton wrote that, and it's, well, I guess originally a country song, right? But Whitney Houston just did it in her R&B ballad style. The proceeds, the royalties from that song, Dolly Parton actually invested back into a black community and called it, like, it was like a poorer community or something like that, and she called it the homes that Whitney's built or something like that. And I thought, wow, isn't that lovely? Because she could have just kept that money all to herself. And at the end of the day, it's everyone's prerogative how they want to spend their money, what they want to spend their money on. I remember being a little girl watching this documentary on Michael Jackson one time, and he walked into the shop and he was like, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. These times, when you look at the price of what Michael Jackson was buying, you're like, yeah, we can't even imagine. Like, it just looked like some, I can't remember. I will find the, if I can, I'll find the clip. But I was like, Michael, really? I'll have that, I'll have that. And the price was just like out of this world. But for him, it's like, oh, okay, it's 50,000 for this vase. Okay, I'll get it. Do you know what I mean? So it's everyone's prerogative what they want to do. But we can't deny the fact that we've seen time and time again where people have said, I got famous, I got all the money, and I still wasn't fulfilled. I had to do drugs, I had to do this to feel something, anything. But when they give their time, when they give their money to good causes, you feel so much more happy in yourself, and you see the blessing that you're doing for others. So the third point is, there is a difference between being alone and lonely. Think carefully about which relationships you could invest more energy. So I mentioned this in the beginning. Remember the fact that there are certain relationships that you have that they're good people. So don't neglect them. Invest the time, send a text, make a phone call, plan a visit when possible, because those relationships is what makes you better as a person. You're giving to them, they're giving to you. When Yah has blessed you with beautiful, genuine people in your life, make time for them. So that is something that takes away from the loneliness. The fact that when you do communicate with someone, it's quality over quantity. Enjoy the peace that comes with having less people in your life. When there's less people in your life, there's less drama, less gossip, right? Okay, relationships will come at the right time. And this is such a key point as well, because sometimes we may feel like, oh, I need to force a friendship or relationship because I'm in this situation. And you'd be better off having a season of being alone and make Yah your best, like make Yah your best friend. You got, well, to be fair, you got Yahusha as well. Messiah, your big brother. You understand what I'm saying? You've got a best friend, a brother. He's right there. He's the friend that sticketh closer. Do you see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's better to have quality friendships. It's better to have quality moments than just be around people. Because even going back to famous people again, you hear people talk and say, yeah, I had all these people around me, but they weren't genuine. Or since I got money, people around me changed. I didn't necessarily change, but the people around me changed and their expectations. Because sometimes people just want. They're around you because it's like, what can you do for me? All right. The other thing I've put here is the other point is you also need to work on the person you want to be. Think about this verse. A man that has friends must show himself friendly. And there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. There you go. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 24. So if you have friends, you need to first work on yourself. If you're going through a period of being more alone in your own company, work on yourself. Ask, yeah, Father, what areas can I improve on? Please help me. Please help me in these struggles so that when I do get into new friendships, or even as I'm connecting with the people I already know, that I can give the best of myself to them. I can be a thoughtful and loving friend, a caring friend, all those good qualities. And also, yeah, so you have to show yourself friendly so you attract that in the first place. But then all relationships take maintenance. So what does it mean to be friendly? I guess you have to ask yourself as well, what are your expectations of friendships? What do you see as a good friend? Do you think you're a good friend? All right. Now the fourth part is indoctrination. There is a quote that I saw recently, and I said I have to talk about this in a video, make it a video, whatever. So it was actually a comment I saw on a video on a channel called Truth Unedited. This channel, he does such really good studies, really good historical research on videos, right? And it says here, it's at Larry Transportation 82932. You gotta love people's online names, you know the ones. So, anyway, he says indoctrination tells you what to think, education teaches you how to think. Indoctrination tells you not to question what you are told. Education gives you the tools for examining everything you are told with a critical eye. Indoctrination tells you not to question. Education teaches you how to question. I stumbled upon this quote a while back. This helped me a lot. And I think that is such a powerful, powerful quote. The difference between indoctrination and education. If you're a human being, at some point you've been indoctrinated because we live in this world. There's a lot of different ideologies that totally go against the Bible. It would be completely arrogant and ignorant to say that none of us have been indoctrinated in some way, shape, form, or fashion, especially like myself, if you're coming from a religious background. Not that there's anything wrong with religion. The Bible tells us true religion, but there are thousands of churches, thousands of different ideas about what is right, what we should believe, and so on. And you just have to take the time to know, what do I believe about the Bible? What do I believe about relationships? What do I believe about the world? So many different things. You have to take your own time at some point and not just be spoon fed by others, but develop your own relationship with Yah. Go over His word, read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Take your time, go through and just keep reading. The more you read the chapters, the more you read in context, the more you'll understand things. We have to remember that we have a brain. Sometimes, in life, we always look up to this person. Oh, they're such an amazing speaker. They're such an amazing preacher, such an amazing lecturer. And we just take in, take in, take in. But we forget that, you know what, I have a brain too. I can think too. I can also sense when, something is wrong here or something is right. And maybe I need to embrace this. Do you understand? So just make sure that you know the difference between indoctrination and education. All right. So our verse of encouragement: only by pride comes contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 10. All right, then, ladies, thank you for watching. And while you are here, please remember to subscribe. Bye.